beg your pardon?
I thought the Social Democrats.
No, it's okay. Yeah, no, you weren't. It's okay. This is the
right.
order. The Social Democrats have spoken. They have
Okay,
spoken, yeah.
I wasn't quite ready, but doesn't matter.
You can
It's
always
fine.
sit down.
Apologies, Minister, I didn't hear, I was at another meeting, so I didn't hear your opening comments. Sorry, thanks to Sinn Féin, by the way, for bringing forward this motion and for making it an all-party effort. And I think it's absolutely imperative that we discuss the UNCRPD and its full implementation, particularly given the huge impact on disability services that COVID-19 has had. And as Thomas Pringle just said, it was, I think, 11 years, in fact, after we signed up to the UNCRPD. It was 11 years later, and only after long, hard campaigning by disability activists, protests that were happening every couple of months. Last year, about 2 years ago, of various disability groups and activist groups and advocate groups that eventually forced, and it really was forced in my opinion, forced the government to do what they should have done 11 years earlier and to ratify the UNCRPD. But of course, even when the government was dragged kicking and screaming to ratify it, they left out the critical part, which was the optional protocol. Now, I don't know if this was discussed earlier and whether the government have given a commitment that they are going to adopt the optional protocol, because I won't say the UNCRPD isn't worth the paper it's written on without the optional protocol, but it's not far off it, because that's the thing that really forces accountability on the government and gives a mechanism to people with disabilities to hold the government to account as to whether they're actually going to ensure real equality at every level for people with disabilities who are clearly denied that at a whole range of levels, whether it's transport, whether it's employment, whether it's education, and just about every sphere of life. We don't actually, equality is not a tangible reality. And when I think about just things that have happened recently, I mean, a campaign I've been involved with, the St Mary's Telford campaign down there on the Marion Road. I just think it's shocking that the government are allowing this to happen. That the Sisters of Charity have just decided to get rid of a convalescent centre, of a nursing home for people with disabilities, and they effectively turf out women who, some of whom would have suffered at the hands of the Sisters of Charity, who've lived there for 60 years with visual impairment and disability, and just told your homes are going. Now, they've waged a massive campaign, and they're now talking about leaving them for a little while, but essentially they've been told to get out, right? Now, this is funded by the HSE, government, taxpayers' money, but because it's the Sisters of Charity, they can do this for reasons unknown. Right? And the government just say it's not our affair. Now, that's just not on. Right? It's just not on that this should be allowed to happen. It's not on St Monica's. I should mention St Monica's, I don't know as well, up in Belvedere Place, but they're also campaigning. The workers there have just been dumped, not getting paid proper redundancy and so on. It's shocking. I got a letter in the last few days, I don't know if this has been brought up, about St John of God's. Now, you know, I believe it should be publicly delivered, not through religious organisations that we deliver disability services, but as it happens, the St John of God's deliver pretty much all of the intellectual disability services in my area. And then they're writing and saying they're all going. Such is the level of underfunding from the HSE that there will be no services. They'll just have to walk away. At the bottom of it is austerity cuts that were imposed back in 2008 and the years afterwards have never really recovered from that, and a failure of the government to actually provide the funding. We had the threat to the St Joseph's Dementia Care in Shankill, which nearly went under, other than big campaigning. Right? That's just not on. So we're not putting the resources in to make equality a reality. I think about my friends Sean O'Kelly and Bernard Munvani, who've run the Access for All overall campaign to ensure that the lifts are fixed on the Dart line, which a bit of extra money has been given, but there's still a long way to go to ensure access to the Dart. So we've a lot more to do. So let's get a commitment on the optional protocol, and let's actually put the resources in to make equality for people with disabilities a reality.
Deputy Palmer.